Howdy everyone, this is Grakef. We got two missions for you today. First one is a helicopter rescue mission. We're helping out the Coast Guard, and we've got two climbers that are stuck on K2. So we're launching off our Hovermaster here, updated with 4 seats, and Jebediah decides he's going to have some fun driving around the helicopter, so kind of goes into almost straight up, and then he pulls it around and lays it out flat. In all actuality, there's something weird going on with this helicopter. And it flies fine with MechJeb, but when you try and use the manual controls, it doesn't do so well. And the other one here is we got Golf Cart 1, and Valentine's going to pilot that, and we're going to start our investor tour. So Bill slapped some parts together for her and built this golf cart, and an aft-mounted propeller fan, and some tires, and it drives like it was slapped together. Valentina, not to be shown up by Jeb's antics, decides that she's going to do some neat little stunts. So she flips it around, and then decides she doesn't have enough forward momentum, so she just grinds a little bit off the propeller there, and finally gets it up the hill. So we're going to do the hotel for our investor tour. I've tried the casino before, and it was okay. I haven't done the hotel since it's easier of the two. Hopefully it'll be kind of fun to do that. And all it really needs is 50 crew cabins and 4 antennas, I think. So it's pretty easy. It'll just be quite a few launches to get it up in the air, and we'll get that going hopefully in another episode. So we're going to pick up our Kerman here and show him around to a few places. Valentina's getting the hang of this golf cart that Bill threw together, and so get it all parked and switch over to Samlin. Nope, first jumped over to the other gentleman that's going to spend the whole tour standing there. You might notice him in some of the other shots. So, get Samlin loaded up here, and then we'll be off on his tour. Of course, the ladders are made of grease, so he slides back down and then gets boarded. And off we go. Alright, and we join him back on the last bit of the lake here. There's about 6 places I had to go to. So there is the astronaut complex, and then we're at this point, Valentina's like, yeah, let's get done here. So I'm not slowing down or stopping for him anymore. And then the Research and Development Center, and around the bend, taking it gingerly because we don't need to flip it over again, but this time it seems to stick a little better. But around the outside of the Research and Development, towards the Vehicle Assembly Building. I noticed also that the waypoint manager is still on the first waypoint. I was hoping it would kind of tick through them as I checked them off. And trying to see that last one there, that's the tracking station. So I imagine the two of them are discussing all the big plans that they'll have. Samlin is all smiles, so hopefully he likes what he's seeing, and he'll give us a nice big fat contract, which he did. $600,000 to build the hotel on completion. There's unfortunately not an advance for it, but we got plenty of money, so it's not going to be an issue. And then one last stop, which is tracking station. Alright, and that's the last stop. All completed. So Valentina brings it to a stop, and we'll join back with Jeb on a rescue mission. So we found one of the hikers on top of K2 here. So we're coming in on approach. Still getting the hang of it, these helicopters, and as I mentioned earlier, this particular one is a bit cantankerous, and the only way I can really drive it is with mech jab. So we come in pretty slowly and just bounce between adjusting the roll and the pitch to make sure that we kill off that forward momentum as we're coming in. If you do this one as well, land relatively close. They have good landing sites for both crewmen, but the only good landing sites are about where those crewmen are sitting. The other spaces are about, well, one of the spots I tried to land earlier was a 16% slope, so this one actually ends up being pretty smooth and just coming in. Gingerly easing it in. I'm also watching my Kerbal engineering there. You notice the slope currently right here is pretty steep, but then all of a sudden it changes just as you get close to that to the Kerbal there. So yeah, 2.5. So this is where we're going to land. Bringing it down, touchdown. Alright, so we're going to get the Kerbal loaded up. I try to see if I can climb in the cab. I've noticed with both the cabs that I chose, none of them have an outside, or the previous Golf Cart 1, I had to fix that. Both of the cabs I had chose on that don't have areas that you can load in. There's no doors on these cabs, which I thought was kind of dumb. So I ended up setting them on the skids. There is seats on those skids. You know what, that'd be a heck of a helicopter ride, riding those back from K2 to the Kerbal Space Center. I noticed that the helicopter is kind of tipping that one way. So I go ahead and turn the roll hard to the left, and it still rolls really hard coming off of there because the Kerbal's sitting on the side there. Get everything straightened out though, and get aimed over towards the second Kerbal climber that we have to rescue. So it takes just a little bit to get it all heading in the right direction. Here we go. Start turning around, adjusting the one thing I had to keep on was the heading. That was the key. If I turned off the heading control, it would start pitching really weird. So I'll adjust the heading and it rotates fine, as you can see there. As long as I leave mech jib on, everything seems to work okay. So alright, so here we are on approach to our last climber. The interesting thing about this one, I had to get really close to the node, and then the Kerbal showed up on the ground, so I overshot it, which wasn't the end of the world, but it did end up, the approach took a little bit longer than I probably needed to, because I was trying to get closer and closer to that node until it finally worked. Coming down. Start backing it up a little bit here so we can get to the same area. And you'll notice again on this one that the slopes are extremely steep, except for right where I touched down. So keep an eye on that. That was probably one of the biggest issues with this mission, was just finding those good slopes to land the helicopter on. Alright, so we got touchdown here, and we're going to load up our last climber. A bunch of cuts here, but yeah, I had to do this twice. I forgot to shut off the engines, and my helicopter took off on me as I was bringing the Kerbal over to sit on the skids. It took quite a few tries here to get him in the correct spot and everything. Notice this one looks kind of like that famous basketball player. So I took his helmet off and was like, oh yeah, he does look like him. Alright, so everybody's loaded up, and off we go. Activate the engines. The load's a lot more balanced out now. I got both Kerbals on each side. Just lift off, and it does the weird pullback, so I overcompensate and just about hit the mountain, but everything's good. Get her flying forward. Off we go. So this is Grakef. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Next up, I think we're gonna go to the moon. We're gonna either do a flyby or a landing. I'll probably just go straight for landing. We'll do a crewed landing. I've never done an uncrewed landing, and I wonder what that might take as far as the radio contact and everything. That could be interesting. But the moon's probably next. Interlaced with, we do have that hotel contract now, so we'll start launching stuff up there to get that built. So this is Grakef. Have a great day.